We've got Erik Mendelson up here from OneOf, and then we've got Dionna Bailey from 330 AI, which is the company behind Pixelmind. So we're just going to have a quick conversation about this. So, Erik, you and I have been talking about NFTs kind of for a while, and one of the drops that I saw OneOf do recently really kind of stood out to me. It was the kind of Biggie Smalls one, which included not just sort of like artwork, but also actually included kind of participation and actually, again, like a license to actually use the kind of samples and some of the stuff within your music. And that's something that to me jumped out. I was like, wow, that's actually a really, really big deal. Can you talk about both kind of how that came about and the significance of it to you?
Yeah, sure. I mean, so for those who don't know, OneOf is a Miami-based company. We raised about $72 million. Our most recent raise happened this week or last week. We raised $8.4 million with American Express, Amex Ventures leading the round. And OneOf is basically positioned to usher in the next 100 million new users into NFTs and into essentially cryptocurrency via NFTs. And we were fortunate enough that we've acquired some of the best like music and sports related IP in the space. We work with Biggie Smalls' estate, as you mentioned. And with our agreement with the estate, we acquired the rights to one of his, a freestyle that he did that was never ever monetized. And what we decided to do was give the 3,000 token holders, we sold out in 10 minutes, give the 3,000 token holders, we created a collective around that music, where when that music is licensed to other artists or licensed in general, the royalties would come into the collective, and then those 3,000 token holders through gated community would determine how to spend those funds, whether they were to buy crypto with it, buy metaverse land with it, or buy other NFTs. The royalties could not streamline down to the actual holders because that would be a security, and we couldn't offer securities yet. Although I hope that we'll be able to in the near future fractionalize royalties. But right now we created this collective around basically Biggie Smalls fans and Biggie Smalls NFT collectors, where they get to determine how the funds are spent from the licensing of this song. And obviously we hope that that pot builds for the collective, and then if they were interested in selling their NFT ownership in the collective, they can then do that, and that's how they would get their kind of liquidity from it.
So a quick follow-up question on that. So like drill in for a second on the licensing part of the deal, right? So obviously it's not about revenue, but it's about use, right? There's an actual use component to this too, correct?
Yeah, so in addition to it being a generative collection, which means you're dealing with rarities, which we've realized is really what our community cares about, is the rarities being able to flip or sell or to other collectors. The utility is that they get to use their NFT in the Brook metaverse, which is a third-party company created a metaverse around Biggie Smalls' life, basically all of the elements of him growing up in Brooklyn. And our NFT is one of the NFTs that will be utilized to gain access into this Brook metaverse. So you have the rarity, like 3,000 generative rarity that like most NFT collectors are familiar with. You have utility in the Brook metaverse, and you also have access into this collective, which we think is actually going to set kind of a precedent for the music industry and set the precedent for how music-related drops are done moving forward.
Yeah, so it's really all about kind of mainstreaming, right? It's all about making this as easy as possible and then putting together a value proposition that makes it so that people actually kind of want to engage with this, which then pulls in more big IP, which then pulls in more people, and that's kind of how we go from where we are right now to, a billion people using these types of things.
Yeah, I mean, like I'm not the CEO. Our CEO created this platform, and our head of product, Max, is around here somewhere, created a product that would allow for fiat payments, for credit card payments and PayPal payments, which means we're a custody platform. So for the first 30 days, when you make a purchase of an NFT on OneOf, you can't export it out of our system. We do that to prevent fraud, primarily chargebacks, kickbacks, whatever, to protect the IP holder, ourselves, as well as our collectors. And when we launched the platform about a year ago, we were getting laughed at by, quite frankly, by people like myself, by Web3, like yourself, Web3 native people, crypto lunatics, right? We're like, how you can't custody for 30 days. That's so anti-crypto or decentralization. But because of it, we've been able to partner with eBay, so and American Express.
Yeah.
So two of the biggest Web2 companies in the world have essentially partnered with us, and Amex invested into us because of the payment rails, because we're able to cater to their users of their services and products.
Yeah, cool, great. Well, thank you for that perspective, Erik. So, Dionna, I'm going to trade mics with you. So, Dionna, we've been talking about kind of like mainstream adoption on this side in terms of what does it really take to have people, like make the jump from past the complexity towards actually being interested in these types of things. I think another thing that you and I have been talking about a lot is sort of the challenges that these companies and brands and artists face when they come into the space, which is that a lot of times it's really actually hard to create a collection of 10,000 different pieces where each one is really sort of compelling, and that there's it's become almost like a seller's market on that side, where it's actually a good thing in my opinion, where artists are able to exact like really great rates, but at the same time it's making it really difficult for the industry to grow. So I mean, like that's kind of what we've been working on with Pixelmind. Can you talk about that for a minute?
Yeah, I'd love to. So obviously tokenization is the game theory and token economics are huge anytime you're planning any kind of project. And if you haven't really, so at the end of the day, it is, why am I buying this? And if you can't answer why this person is buying this, then you probably shouldn't be selling the NFT. What I love about things like Pixelmind is we help people co-create with art. And we've talked a lot about Pixelmind, but let's even take the music application that he was talking about. AI is going to move to the point where, or even the musician, they set the beat, they set the rhythm. Imagine if you could co-create a song with the musician. And these are the things that we're going to get to, and that kind of community involvement is the things that people will tokenize and they will buy. And really, it's just more an in-depth connection at the end of the day with whoever you're co-creating with. And that's what Pixelmind does. And I believe to a degree that's what you guys do. It's all about engagement. It's about making you feel a part. And, that's what artists and crypto and AI does.